Todd Myers, who's the expert on this with the Washington Policy Center, broke the news this morning. We asked him to come on and explain in detail, mathematically, why the retorts the governor is giving are simply nothing. The man of the hour, Todd Myers, welcome.
Thank you for having me on. It's good to see you.
Yeah, I'm kind of disappointed in you, to be honest.
Uh-oh. Why?
Because you were sitting on the smoking gun this whole time. The smoking gun is from 2014. Did you just all of a sudden remember you had it?
Well, so actually a colleague of mine was doing some research and saying, hey, have you seen this article from 2014? And I was like, yes, I remember this now because I'm old and I went through that whole process of 2014. And so the minute I saw it, I said, yeah, I have these documents. And I went back and looked at them and then found a video of the testimony where the article talks about. So I had forgotten about it. It was 10 years ago. It's a combination of me being old and it being 10 years ago, but I did find it. And so, yeah, what it shows is that the governor has long known that this would increase gas prices, that his tax on CO2 emissions would increase gas prices. And it's not even just that, it's that we know exactly the amount they predicted, which is identical to the calculation that we've used for the last year and a half in predicting that amount. So it's not merely that they said, yes, it will increase gas prices. They said it will increase gas prices by exactly the amount we predicted.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I want to talk to you about. And if you have to be nerd out and use math or whatever, feel free. We'll try to keep up with you. But the governor likened predicting this to him predicting the Husky game. Like it's a complete guess out of thin air based on like some loose standards. But there's a reason why your prediction, his own chief policy advisor, the WashDOT whistleblower, there's a reason why you all had the exact same prediction. It's because, like the WashDOT whistleblower said, it's sixth grade math. So can you articulate why comparing this guessing to, oh, it's like guessing a football game. How am I expected to be exactly right? Can you explain in detail why it's not the same thing?
Well, it's more like, saying a touchdown could be anywhere from, 5 to 10 points. No, we know a touchdown is 7 points because that's what it is. It's just simply math. So every gallon of gas emits 19.6 pounds of CO2 when you burn it. And if you tax CO2 based on the amount, the tax is very straightforward. It's the tax times that 19.6 pounds. That's the way California does it. That's the way everybody does it. That's the way the governor's own 2014 report did it. That's why every time you say, okay, if the price is $52 a metric ton, right, then it calculates to this amount per gallon. Everybody does it the same way. Everybody comes up with the same answer, including the governor's own people. So it's not a situation where you're just guessing the impact. And we know that because the state of Washington said, based a financial projection on if the price is this, here's how much money we will get. So it's not just 2014, it is 2023 that the Office of Financial Management, which does the budgets, said, here's the math and here's how much revenue we're going to get. So the governor knows he's being dishonest. He's hoping that people get lost in the math and think that this is sort of, shady. It's not. Everybody, including his own administration, 10 years ago and today, do the same thing.
Well, this is just guessing. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. If he's just being obtuse, if he is playing dumb, if he is just doesn't care in the final year of his term, whether he continues to perpetrate a lie that even his own staff has shown, is just demonstrably false. What do you think it is? Like unwillingness to admit you were wrong, or do they just not tell him anything and he doesn't know?
So this is my speculation. In both 2016 and 2018, there were taxes on CO2 emissions on the ballot. In 2018, the initiative was put on the ballot by the governor, and it is basically the same as the system we have now. It lost 58-42. My guess is that the governor and his staff simply decided that if they were honest about the impact on gas prices, they were never going to get this tax. So they simply started saying, nope, it's not going to have an impact on gas prices. We'll just blame the oil companies and we'll get it through. And that is exactly what has happened. And once you start down that path, you can't sort of do the, Animal House thing and say, well, we lied to you, you effed up, you trusted us. So because then, that really makes them look foolish. So I think once they've painted themselves into a corner with that message, they have to stick with it, even though it's very clear they know it's wrong.
Well, and it also makes them look foolish. So, I mean, whether they came out and it said, hey, we were dishonest with you, or whether they keep pushing something that is so clearly a lie, they look foolish either way. One of the retorts the governor gave, and I just, before you came on, played my exchange with him, is, oh, well, they're not saying anything now that gas is down, $1.50 a gallon from last year. Can you also explain why that doesn't make any sense?
Well, gas goes up and down every year. It goes up during the summer and it goes down during the winter because of demand and a variety of other things. The video that is in our blog at WashingtonPolicy.org, they specifically address that. His policy advisor says that it would be 44 cents a gallon above the fluctuation of prices. So, there's many things that influence prices, but taxes certainly do. So claiming that, gas prices went down, therefore we didn't have an impact is nonsense. We are still much higher than Oregon. We were the same price as Oregon for many years, and now we're higher. So it's very clear what's going on. And the other irony, of course, is that when prices went up this summer, as they always do, he blamed the oil companies for their greed. But now that oil prices are coming down, what is it? Oil company generosity, benevolence? I mean, they just make it up as they go and will use any argument that's closest to hand to try to cover the fact that they're lying.
Yeah, and the thing that, I remember when you guys came out with your analysis that turned out to be spot on, and the governor said it was halfway between hogwash and baloney. Was that it? But then when confronted today with the fact that his own policy advisor had the same prediction as you, the washed out whistleblower who actually agrees with the program, but didn't want to hide the calculations. So they're not halfway between hogwash and baloney, because that takes the politics out of it, right? When it's bipartisan people who are saying no, the same thing. Is there any end to this? I mean, there's an initiative that's going through to repeal these parts of the CCA. I mean, where do we go from here? Because I think that he's been asked enough where there is almost no point in continuing to ask him the same question over and over and try to admit that he lied.
Believe me, I am tired of talking about this issue.
Yeah.
I'm a policy analyst. I want to get good policy. And just getting having to spend all my time just getting basic facts right is really annoying. Because there are lots of things we can do to help the planet, whether it's on climate change or whether it's on wildlife or salmon or fires. That's what we should be talking about. And having to spend all this time just dealing with political lies is so counterproductive because it takes time away from focusing on the good things. So I think ultimately at the end of the day, this will go to the ballot and the voters will decide. Do they think that despite these lies, it's still worth it? Or do they think that it's costing too much and that there's a better way, or that they don't want it at all? That's what will happen. The legislature, who knows what they'll do this session to deal with it. It will almost certainly go to the ballot, and that's how this will be decided.
Yeah, and I think the key is just trying to get as many voters as we can to see that they're being lied to, and to see that it's not political, and that so many people have come to the same conclusion, and it's just plain as day. Todd Myers, I mean, you have really been just a rock star in all of this. I don't think we'd be having this conversation with the governor today had it not been for the work that you've done on this. So thank you, and thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. It's always nice to chat with you.